Before we start, the name is at the top of the screen. When she turned 8 years old, a magic aptitude test was concluded. Her strict father decided she was useless. He commanded her to leave, his tone cold and final. Her mother stepped forward, eyes blazing with a fierce protectiveness. Among all her children, this one possessed the rarest intelligence and the greatest magical potential. Even if conventional magic failed her, there had to be a place where her abilities could be of use. She looked at her husband and spoke steadily, insisting that the child could benefit many. If he was determined to remove her, he could remove her instead. She was too unwell to handle official duties regardless. She gathered the girl into her arms, urging him to reconsider and show mercy. The magic kingdom of Elmia is renowned for its advanced magical technology and flourishing prosperity. In its aristocratic society, a child's magic aptitude greatly influences their future. Because the kind of magic one can use is considered an indicator of their excellence. Nobles became obsessed with producing children with superior magical aptitude to protect their family names. The bloodline became everything in determining human value. The magic aptitude test results showed that she only had an aptitude for the lowest grade magic, domestic magic. Thanks to her mother's intervention, she was safe, but since she had no magical talent, she was confined to a secluded basement to hide the family shape. Although it was a dimly lit basement room, it was the previous head underground library with many books from that time. And there were even books her mother prepared for her. This place was more than she could have wished for. Her mother said this was the best she could do, but she turned to her mother and told her in a soft voice that it is fine, now she can study quietly and extensively. She still had things she wanted to do, dreams she wanted to fulfill. For the sake of her mother, who believed in her, she wanted to become the strongest and coolest villainess in the world. She hurls the vase to the floor, shattering it, and screams she hates this color. This is Mattia Lumiere, when she was 5 years old. Back then, she was a spoiled, selfish and tyrannical child. The maid bows her head, murmuring an apology, but Mattia cuts her off with a warning. She will tell father if this isn't fixed, and she orders them not to just stand there and hurry and get her cuter ones. Some maids exchanged nervous whispers, claiming it was she who requested this kind of flower, and that her tantrums were inevitable. Mattia snaps, her gaze slicing across the room. She tells them she hears every word and doesn't hesitate to threaten again that she will have them fired by telling father about this. Perhaps it was karma for her past actions that she stumbled down the stairs. She hit her head at that moment. She doesn't know if it was because of the impact, but she regained memories of her past life. In her previous life, she was the daughter of a fallen noble living under her mother's oppression, who held high expectations from her and wanted to achieve dreams that she couldn't through her. In the dazzling social world, she always felt out of place. What saved her heart amidst that chaos was her beloved novels, particularly the wonderful Villainess in them. Noble, intelligent, merciless to enemies but kinder than anyone to her own. They were never bound by social norms, not caring what others think. The strength of will to stand by oneself in any situation. A small smile touched her lips as she read the novel, thinking, how wonderful, the complete opposite of her. She hugged the book to her chest, thinking if only she could be like that. If she could change. She had always thought that, but suddenly an earthquake struck. Her life ended abruptly. And her last thought was, why did she keep enduring it? If only she had been like the villainess in that noble standing by her feelings. If only she had lived more freely. As her consciousness faded, what remained at the end was a thirst for freedom and deep regret. She was the reincarnation of a noble lady who always read the mood, kept enduring everything and died. She jolts awake. Seal, her maid, leans close and asks how she is feeling, her relief clear. Mattia replies softly that she's fine, pressing a hand to her chest as if to confirm her life is still hers. A second chance, if she truly has one, she vows never to endure suffering the way she did before. She will go where she wants, eat what she wants, and do whatever she desires. She pauses, asking herself what that truly means. The answer comes instantly, she will follow the path she believes in, just like the villains in the novels she once read. Her goals from her previous life now guide this one. The only problem is her own lack of knowledge. She cannot yet become the formidable villainess she imagines. But it is not too late. Even now, she can study, learn, and grow. First, she must become someone worthy of respect. To become magnificent, she must master those around her. The maids watch in quiet astonishment as she busies herself with books, muttering to one another. Lately, she has been calm, polite, and diligent, no longer prone to tantrums. In the library, she reaches for a book, misjudges the height and stumbles. One of the maids catches her, asking if she is all right. Seal picks up the fallen book, noting how many books she has already read. Excited, she exclaims yes. She has studied magical studies, royal studies, sociology, economics, estate management, law, and more and more. Seeing her bursting with excitement, Seal tells her to calm down, saying studying is wonderful but not to overdo it. She crosses her arms, nodding to herself. She understands what she must do. To become a strong, impressive villain, she needs overwhelming charisma, a presence that draws others in. She must show genuine interest in those around her and ensure they benefit from their connection with her. She must practice this with everyone she encounters. Turning to Seal, she says she has always watched over her and anticipated her needs. She meets her gaze with sincerity. Please, she says quietly, continue to take care of me. Seal crouches before her and smiles gently. Of course, she replies. Thanks to these efforts, the servants' evaluations of her gradually began to change. Seal, completely captivated by her, declares that she is incredibly adorable. Even the servants who once regarded her with suspicion have now come to her side. In the past, she performed small gestures to win their favor and then quietly listened to them. That day, she realizes that raising favorability is the most fundamental step in mastering people's hearts. Slowly, everyone begins to admire her as a charismatic little villain. By the time she turns 7, she has won the loyalty of the servants, but she knows it still isn't enough to become a truly magnificent villain. She needs an exceptional partner, and the perfect candidate is already in the mansion. She approaches the Lumiere family's Count Butler, Vincent. Bowing slightly, he places a hand on his chest in respect and asks how she is feeling that day. She replies very well and the weather is so pleasant and suggests they have tea outside. He replies he will have the maid prepare it. He's the butler who manages the entire Count family. He has beautiful manners and perfect work. But that is just his public face. When she truly investigates his background, there are traces of fabrication in every piece of his personal information. Why would a Count family's butler fabricate his background? She knows these types of people well. This person has a strong admiration for fictional intelligence agents. To make various identity fabrications, to become an intelligence agent, he is just like her. Vincent is perfect to be her partner. She hands him a letter and, grinning, tells him to read it alone. He glances at it, puzzled. She doesn't want anyone else to see it? At her age? But as he reads, his eyes widen in disbelief. How could she have seen through his disguise? By the end of the letter, it becomes clear, she knows his true identity. Being the Lumiere family's butler is merely a cover. In reality, he is an agent of a foreign nation, moving between countries under various guises. He lets the candle consume the paper, watching it burn. Indeed, he is hiding here under a false name. He lost his parents in the war. He wanted to end the war quickly and reduce the number of children like him. From a young age, he received education and became an agent of the imperial nation. For the sake of justice, he spread information and set traps using every method to end the war. But it was an impossible task. The war was orchestrated by the imperial nation, the organization to which he belonged. Knowing this dirty world, he fell into despair. He left the intelligence agency, changed his name, altered his face and erased all traces. That is how he lived. However, she knows his true identity and still wants to meet him. What is her purpose? Later, he sits across from her, noting that she requested to speak with him alone. She calmly sips her tea as he asks if something is troubling her. She smiles, serene, and says she will get straight to the point. She tells him to become her partner and help execute her plan. His eyes narrow. Her plan. She gestures to a book. The details are written inside. It is her magnificent villain plan, to become a formidable villain and fight the evil that plagues the country. He adjusts his glasses and flips through the pages, thinking it a delusional fantasy of a pitiful preteen girl. There are so many descriptions that will make her cringe with embarrassment later. But as he reads further, he wonders, does this girl, who saw through him so easily, truly have such delusions, or is she testing him? Perhaps the book is a disguise, in case anyone else reads it. Her ambition is clear. She wants to be a villain who delivers judgment on twisted justice and rules the world from the shadows. What surprises him is her understanding of justice, human fragility, and the true nature of people. Despite her youth, she wants to confront the evil in the world, save the oppressed, and uphold the ideals of justice he once cherished in his own pure-hearted youth. It becomes clear, she knows more than she lets on, and she is reaching out to him because she wants to change the world. She grins at him, saying she recognizes his talents and asks if he will help her. He stiffens, thinking he has no reason to live, but perhaps there are still things he can do, if it is alongside her. He takes her hand, kneeling before her, and says they should punish evil together and save the oppressed. Later, Mattia reflects that she has captured the hearts of the servants and gained an exceptional partner. But a thought lingers: what did he mean by punishing evil and saving the oppressed? That was part of her plan too, but only as a narrative to become a cool villain. What kind of villain actually helps people in real life? But then, the image of the villain from the book she once read flashes through her mind, the way she punished the wicked, declaring herself a true villain who could not tolerate half-hearted, mediocre evildoers. Mattia grins, exhilarated by the thought. Yes, that's it. She will become a villain who delivers justice to the weak, a figure who protects the innocent from the shadows. That is the path she will forge next. She needs to create various settings so she doesn't betray Vincent's expectations. She decides she needs to create various settings so she never betrays Vincent's expectations. An evil organization is pulling the strings behind aristocratic society. It's a classic setup, she knows, but in her eyes, it's perfect. Because of them, noble values have turned rigid, the people are crushed under their rules, and oppression thrives in every corner. She will take them down one by one. She will make sure those self-proclaimed elites swallow every arrogant word and never dare to look down on anyone again. From the doorway, Seal peeks in and watches her scribbling at her desk. She assumes she's happily absorbed in her studies. How adorable, she thinks, completely misreading the villain arc she's building. Later, she approaches Vincent. He crouches down to meet her at eye level, and she hands him the papers she spent all night compiling. Her eyes are swollen, her voice steady. She tells him everything she wants him to investigate. Vincent's face goes pale. Is there an organization? She says yes. That's all it takes for him to bolt out of there, saying he'll start the investigation immediately. A few days later, he returns with a report in hand. His expression deadly serious, as he says she was right. The Committee of 300 rules the magical nation from the shadows. Advocates bloodline supremacy and eugenic ideology. They are structured society to make people easier to control while operating numerous criminal organizations to gain enormous profits. They are the root cause of the people's poverty. They are an irredeemable great evil. With stars in her eyes, she watches him, impressed. Vincent works like a real agent, there really is a committee of 300. He asks her what shall they do. She tells him they must not rush, asking him if he knows this Eastern saying, what crouches long will leap high. What blooms early withers fast. Now is the time to build their strength. It is precisely because their enemy is powerful and hard to defeat that what matters is their daily progress. They should prepare to destroy evil and show them what the villain really means. However, during the magic aptitude test when she was 8 years old, it was discovered that despite being a noble's daughter, she only had an aptitude for the lowest grade domestic magic. Father tried to exile her for her lack of talent, but thanks to mother's intervention, she avoided disaster. Then her secluded life began. She was separated from Seal and had no servants, which was inconvenient, but she could study and practice magic in a quiet place. Vincent provided everything she needed. One day, Vincent brought Seal with him. The moment Seal saw her, her eyes welled up with tears. She immediately pulled Mattia into her arms. Mattia commented that she looked terrible, but Seal cried that she felt so much better now. Vincent explained that after being separated from her, Seal couldn't even eat properly. She let out a soft laugh and called Seal a silly seal. Vincent apologized for the late report and added that he brought her here because he believed Seal could be trusted. Seal wiped her tears and asked the plan. Completely confused, Mattia ended up explaining everything herself, which sent the poor maid collapsing onto her knees. She burst into dramatic sobs, calling Mattia an angel for trying to save the people from the current nobles. Her reaction was so over the top that Mitya stared at her in disbelief. She kept going, saying Mattia was so young yet thinking so seriously, trying to act mature despite her tiny size. Adorable. Even her oversized sleeves were irresistible. And her insistence on calling herself a villain instead of a hero? Too cute. Mattia just stared at her blankly and asked what she was even talking about, then grinned and let it slide. Later, she focused on her magic. Domestic magic was considered the lowest grade, ignored by nobles who trained only in formal magic, but precisely because of that, no one had truly researched it. If someone mastered it, maybe new possibilities could emerge. She had to work hard for the sake of the two people supporting her. While she was practicing, Vince Cinder ran after her, and she made a dramatic fall. He scolded her that fire was dangerous, especially with all the books around. She told him she was fine. Today was the only day she could practice freely without an overprotective seal hovering. She attempted her spell and accidentally burnt her hair. Vincent teased her, saying her magic control was incredible, no damage to the surroundings, no burns on her body, just her hair roasted. She was still sputtering when her mother walked in. Startled, she straightened up and asked if it was really okay for her mother to come here. Instead of answering, her mother instructed Vincent to give them a moment alone. Once he left, her mother smiled and commented that she had grown, and her hair had become so fluffy. Mattia blurted out that it was an accident. Then, in a small voice, she asked why her mother had protected her during the magic aptitude test, even though doing so had risked worsening her own position. Her mother admitted that she had been so consumed by her responsibilities as a countess that she had treated childrearing as the servant's job. She hadn't paid enough attention to her youngest daughter. Mattia asked if that was why she had desperately tried to save her. Her mother shook her head gently. That wasn't the only reason. She explained that she had spent her whole life playing the roles others expected of her, convincing herself the noble values she disliked were correct. She never had the courage to voice her own thoughts. So when she heard from the maids about Mattia, how she studied because she wanted to, how she treated servants without discrimination, how she was trying so hard to become a proper person, she felt proud. Mattia had given her courage. Mattia showed her that even inside her cowardly self, there was a part that admired her daughter. That was why she had to protect her that day. She couldn't use fear as an excuse anymore. If she was going to be brave at least once in her life, it had to be then. She told Mattia that thanks to her, she had become a little closer to the person she had always wanted to be. And no matter what happens, Mattia will be fine, she can do anything, say anything, and no matter what others think, she will always be on her side. Mattia's eyes filled with tears. Her mother smiled softly and told her not to forget it. Even if she were to go to a distant world where they could never meet again, she would remain grateful to her, grateful simply because she was born. Then 2 weeks later, her mother passed away. She wasn't even allowed to attend the funeral. She held back her tears and practiced magic more than ever. Because if she wasn't desperately doing something like this, she felt like she would cry. The her that mother believed in definitely wasn't a cry baby. That's not the person she wanted to become. It wasn't like the cool villain she admired. Sometime after her mother's death, she was summoned by Father. He spoke casually, saying she was still alive, how tenacious, and informed her that she would be sent to Lineage as its acting lord. Lineage was a poor territory, unstable land, unsuitable for farming, no major industries to rely on. It had been deteriorating year after year under oppression, becoming the most dangerous region in the entire magical nation. Finally, the time had come. She nodded, telling her father she understood. Outside, the maids surrounded her, worried. Going there was basically a death sentence, and they all knew it. But she reassured them she would be fine and thanked them for always being so kind to her. Then, with a wide grin, she declared that she was going. She turned to Seal and Vincent, who were already standing with their packed bags. When she called out to them, they both answered firmly. They would not serve anyone except her. She smiled, thanked them sincerely, then looked up at the sky, quietly hoping her mother was watching over her. She will destroy them for her. She will become the strongest and most magnificent villainess. She will destroy the bad aspects of noble society that mother always endured. Inside the carriage, she tells them she is truly happy they come with her. Vincent replies that it is only natural. Seal explains that a lot happened, but she managed to quit her job, so there is no problem. She can now officially serve her, so Mattia may ask for anything. Mattia confirms, asking anything, and Seal answers yes, anything. Mattia decides to accept the offer. She opens her arms and requests a hug. Seal pulls her close without hesitation and promises of course. Vincent reports that he secures the planned amount of medicine from the Potion Guild. The plague in Lineage spreads faster than expected. He admits he changes some of the medicine types on his own and apologizes for acting without permission. She assures him it is all right. If he acts according to his judgment, she trusts him completely. She adds that he is far more capable than she is. He observes her quietly and comments that she has grown up. She immediately asks if he means she has grown taller. A villain, in her mind, is supposed to be cool, slender, and tall. Her short height is a stubborn remnant of her past life. Vincent begins to say no, but she cuts him off and asks if she has not grown at all. Seal quickly comforts her and promises she will grow taller for sure. They arrive in Lineage, and the situation is worse than she imagines. As a noble, she cannot stand the careless thinking and behavior she sees. Her brother imposes heavy taxes to line his pockets, then flees once everything collapses. Her eyes sharpen with rage. She vows to crush that rotten, greedy noble attitude. The carriage suddenly halts. A mob surrounds them. People shout at the carriage, calling them worthless nobles and demanding to know how they dare return. One man accuses them of causing countless deaths and suffering. He threatens to kill them if they plan to take anything more. Mattia expected hostility, yet fear still stirs in her chest. She reminds herself that the villain she admires never falter. She refuses to break here. A dangerous smile spreads across her face as she states they shall go and show them what true evil is. The mob freezes when they see she is a child. A man raises his weapon, but Vincent seizes it instantly and throws him to the ground. As another man charges forward, Mattia lifts her hand and orders him to kneel. His body locks in place. She explains it is only a dusting spell, meant for cleaning. More bodies drop to their knees, struggling helplessly. She observes them with cool eyes and tells them they are weak. They cannot even be called evil. Still, she accepts them as they are. It was the nobles who drove them to this point where they have no choice because of this country's twisted idea of what is right. She absolutely hates the idea that it is okay to oppress those without magical aptitude. She also despises her brother who made them suffer only to abandon them and run away. She smiles and tells them she came here to take down corrupt nobles like him. They all look up at her in disbelief while she continues that their families are suffering from the plague and they need money, right? That's why they have no choice but to form a mob and steal. Vincent brings her the box of medicine and she pulls one out, telling them it is the medicine to cure the plague. One of the men hesitantly takes it and says it is such an expensive medicine. Why? Suspicious, he says, are they just going to hit them with heavy taxes again in return? She tells them she won't do anything like that. She declares with sparkling eyes that she might be ruthless to her enemies, but kind to her own people. That is the kind of villain she admires. She declares that she is now the acting lord of Lineage, which means everyone here becomes her people. She orders them to call the entire town, determined to make sure this reaches anyone who needs help. A man begins to protest that a deal this good cannot be real, but she places her foot on the box in front of him and fixes him with a cold glare, telling him to just go. He immediately agrees, leaving her to wonder if that was villainous enough. She instructs everyone who needs medicine to form a line. When a man limps toward her, she notes that his leg seems injured. He confirms it and explains that he never received treatment. He pulls up his pant leg to show her the wound and tells her high-level mages claimed it would never heal. She asks if he will allow her to try. He hesitates and asks if she can use healing magic. She answers no, explaining that it is only simple household magic. He insists it is impossible and says he has already accepted it. She informs him that she adjusts the effective range and fixes the coordinates. She reminds herself that she practiced this for so long. A spell to heal small wounds. A spell to repair broken things. A spell to revitalize the body. Each effect is tiny, so she layers them again and again. Slowly, she realizes it is working. She silently wishes for her mother to watch over her. The wound fades from his leg, and he stares in shock. He takes a step and cries out that it neither hurts nor itches. She beams with relief, thrilled that her effort pays off. To keep her villain persona, she acts bored and mutters that it is easy for her. She announces that she can heal as much as needed and tells them to bring anyone who wishes to beg for her help. She is taken to a temporary clinic and treats every person she can reach. She even shows off a little until Seal arrives and informs her it is time for a break. Mattia insists she is fine, but Seal firmly says she is not. Moments later, Mattia sways on her feet. Later, several townspeople approach Seal and ask if the Lord will be alright. They worry she is about to collapse. Seal assures them she will make sure Mattia rests properly and tells them not to worry. The man bows and vows they will never forget this kindness. He promises they will follow Mattia for the rest of their lives. Seal gives a sad yet relieved smile and tells him to say that directly to the Lord because she is certain Mattia would love to hear it. When Mattia wakes up, evening has already settled. She giggles softly to herself, proud that she managed to bluff her way through. With this, she can establish her position in the territory with ease. Overwhelm them at the start so they know they cannot fight her. Then draw them close and win their hearts. This is the most effective method of gaining loyalty, creating the situation she desires without ever fighting. That is a truly villain-like strategy. She believes everyone will bow before her abilities. She is relieved that her household magic research paid off. She is grateful she can become someone others rely on for help. She never knew being thanked could feel this good. She darts from one end of the room to the other, excitement bubbling out of her as she giggles and claws at the sofa, trying to contain the approval-seeking monster inside her before it bursts loose. Vincent and Seal stand by the door, watching her and agreeing that she can be unexpectedly funny at times. Vincent murmurs that maybe this happens because she never had friends her own age and spent her childhood trapped in her own imagination. Seal's smile warms, finding even her small flaws cute. Vincent quietly adds that he thinks she's funny too, which makes her ask what part of her he finds funny. She then brightens and declares they should all do their best to support her, and Vincent answers without hesitation of course they will. After that, she continued treating the townspeople. Vincent would interview them about their symptoms and referred them to her based on their condition. His ability to gather information is just amazing. She continued treating people without a break, even when she was about to collapse, she would take diligent care of her. The people of the town steadily grew healthier. At the same time, in the town's central square, a simple treatment facility began to take shape. At first it was just her, Seal and Vincent. But now everyone in town is helping out. Since she didn't have any friends and was all alone, this was a strange feeling. It made her so happy she couldn't help but smile. But she couldn't because she was a cool villainess. She will keep this up, raise her approval rating with the people, and build a solid foundation for her magnificent villainous life. She instructs one man to bring her the next batch of materials, completely unaware of how everyone watches her with quiet affection, thinking about the way she sometimes strikes a pose and looks far too cute for someone healing half the town. They're equally stunned that she's only 10, yet gifted enough to make them believe she might be the one to finally change this rotten place. 3 weeks pass like this, her days filled with treating townspeople while settling into the mansion her brother abandoned. The furniture and facilities are luxurious enough that, despite refusing to forgive his cruelty, she's at least grateful they can live comfortably for now. Later, she sits at the table marveling that she's actually allowed to eat like this, something that used to feel like a distant dream when she was trapped in the estate's basement under her father's strict regime. Without warning she raises her hands and loudly declares she'll do her best again today, only for Vincent to gently remind her that today is a day off. When she panics and asks about the clinic, he assures her that thanks to her relentless effort there are no more patients needing urgent care, and since she hasn't taken a single break since their arrival, she should finally spend a day resting and doing whatever she wants. Ever since that day, she remembered her past life. Ever since that time she was told she had no talent for magic, she doesn't think there's ever been a day she thought about taking a break. And now that she has a day off she wants to do something cool and villainous-like. She is sure a Willy she likes would be preparing for her ambitions. And to advance this plan, she needs money. The villain she admires loves money, so she naturally loves it too. Whether it is to buy lovely dresses or to feel good by crushing corrupt nobles, she absolutely needs money. The money that a lord collects as the rightful due tax revenue. If she has that money, will just keep rolling in even while she's sleeping. She has been cooped up in the clinic ever since she got here. First, she needs to learn more about this land. As she reaches the exit door, Vincent pauses there and asks if she is heading into town. She nods and tells him to come with her. Outside, she looks over the town, its collapsed homes, cracked roads, and fields drained of life and wonders how it has fallen into such ruin. Heavy taxes and the plague are part of it, of course, but the soil has been pushed past its limit. Nothing can grow in ground that has been stripped this bare. Her brother's endless taxes forced the residents into brutal, non-stop farming just to survive, and in the process the land lost every trace of nourishment. Vincent murmurs that it will take years to rebuild the topsoil. She shakes her head and says it is fine, she already has an idea. Later, standing before the gathered townspeople, she declares that she will lower the taxes to an appropriate amount and restore the agriculture that sustains them. A man begins to protest that farming here is already impossible, but she cuts him off and tells him to check the soil in the field beside them. He kneels, touches it, and stares in shock. The soil has changed. She tells them they should now be able to grow crops. When the man demands to know how she did it, she explains that she used magic a few days ago, a spell that adds nutrients to depleted earth. One use only produces a tiny effect, so she repeated it 90 times until the soil revived. The crowd murmurs in disbelief at her ability to alter the land itself. She lifts her chin and boasts that for her, this much is nothing. A man says they do not know how to repay her, and she grins, telling them that starting tomorrow they can teach her how to farm. She wants to see the other fields too. She admits she only has book knowledge, there is so much she never learned. She spent her life locked in the basement, barely seeing the outside world, and now she finally can. She carefully observes the soil, calmly discerning what they need. She listens to their quiet voices. She must not assume she knows best. Just as each of them is different, she's learning that the soil has its own distinct personality. In her past life and in this one, she was always stuck inside the room as a noble. As a young lady, this is her first time feeling this. No one scolds her for getting dirty. She can do whatever she wants. She excitedly asks if they shall head over the next way, but her foot catches in the dirt and she falls forward, landing face first. Her gaze lands on an earthworm wriggling in the soil, picking it up with wide-eyed curiosity. One of the townspeople points out that the presence of earthworms proves the soil has improved. She admits she has never seen one before, marveling quietly at the tiny creature. At Almia Grand Palace, a man walks through the halls as the maids whisper about him. He is Kyle, second prince of the Elmia kingdom. They wish he were more composed, but he overhears and smirks, thinking it is better for them to consider him a playboy. It keeps them off guard. A cloaked aide approaches, handing him a stack of reports. Kyle flips through them and grimaces, thinking the country is rotten to the core. The nobles care only about lining their own pockets. The Committee of 300 holds enough power to threaten the political system itself, even the royal family. How many people have been sacrificed because of their influence? The king works tirelessly, but the committee has infiltrated every corner of governance. Kyle knows he must be the one to change society, whatever it takes, yet time is running short before they make their next move. He looks up and asks his aide about lineage. The aide reports that oppressive rule and infectious disease have thrown the territory into chaos, driving mobs to attack the nobles. The third son fled the region, and the fifth daughter, only 10 years old, has been sent to replace him. Kyle narrows his eyes. Her name is Mattia Lumiere, he says, pausing before instructing his aide to calm down and listen carefully. The aide continues, the infectious disease has apparently been contained. Kyle's eyes widen. How did they possibly manage that? He demands. The aide explains that the fifth daughter, acting as lord, has overturned the hopeless situation and personally treated over 50 residents. Kyle immediately orders preparations to depart for lineage and starts moving urgently. The aide hesitates, noting that Kyle was scheduled to go bird hunting in the forest with the Duke today. He mutters to tell him he's in bed with a hangover or a stomach ache. When his aide hesitates, he turns to him with a glare and says this is something that takes priority over everything else. And that concludes the video today. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you want another part.